Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon, another special edition. Chakras, USP ports. RJ, what are you getting me into? Anyway, it's a flat Earth nation because the mud flood was Armageddon. Don't let anyone tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. That means no fisticuffs. RJ, we're opening a can of worms today.
Well, yeah, I guess that's an opinion. I don't know. I think it's more exposing more details, maybe.
Sugar Night. What's going on here? Let me go back here. For some reason, it's saying I'm showing the screen when I clicked on my thing here. Oh, that's because I am.
You're
Lord.
sharing.
I was sharing, but why that was still up there was haunting me. Doggone it. That's a show killer. That's a show killer, man. Well, we're going to press on anyway. So let's go.
Testing your patience, yeah.
Oh, I had to close out of the present mode. That was messed up. So the hindrance was not me, but we're going to press on. Anyway, Shuganate. I was going, Shuganate. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. Shuganate. Look, it's a rock. There it is. There's a Shuganite bearing rock. Shuganite. Shungite. This is what we got going here. Precambrium, that's a lie.
You don't need a disclaimer on any of this, do you?
The second, I'm going to get to it, but not for now. The Shuganite is most widely known. It's pseudoscientific quack medical claim blocking 5G radiation. All these other claims. Well, though they've been using it as a medicine since 1879, but that doesn't mean it's not today being used by pseudoscientific quacks. I'm being sarcastic, but so they have been using it.
Well, I'm sure if it's something that works, they're going to want to steer you away from it, kind of like during that planned scamdemic thing. And
Ooh,
but
yeah. Since the middle of the 1700s now, they were using it as a pigment for paint, carbon black, or Hugenite, natural black. In the 1970s, it was exploited. Probably not, didn't like it at all. In the production of insulating material, Hugenite is prepared by heating rocks with low Hugenite concentrations really hot, and that's a density filter. There's some mysterious things going on, but it's been used as folk medical remedy since the early 1700s when Peter the Great set up the first spa to take care of his citizens. He supposedly learned that while he was in Europe, became fascinated with their revival of the Romo-Grecan style. I didn't say homo, but the Roman Greco style, that he emulated it. And that's where Sylvie from New Earth Channel started with the Russia was the real Jerusalem, crystal healing, pseudoscientists. They start with this, they end with it. I'm thinking we should look at it hard. In the meantime, we do have to show the video from the guy who he's been living like I've been recommending people live. He's been doing it for 5 years, although without Jesus. And there it is. We're not trying to, make any money. We're trying to spread the gospel. The Hudson Bay, we got to get into that. And the massive, look at the Hudson Bay. Where did it, supposedly trading posts because they needed fur. We talked about fur a little bit. It's still on my mind. And when they needed fur, well, geez, they needed to start forts and cities all over Canada, the United
Yeah,
States.
that was at a period of time where it was more difficult to fake the fur. You needed the real deal.
Right. And we talked earlier, was it because something happened late 1600s, early 1700s, where all of a sudden winters changed and all of a sudden, well, the Sahara Desert is there.
Shiver me timbers.
And we got people freezing saying, we will do anything for warm fur. We'll have to come back to that government fur trade factory system. Dang. You know what? The Rockefellers and the people that did the American Fur Company, you heard of these guys, John Jacob Astor and that crew. They said, look, man, you sound like commies. Quit getting in our fur company and let us make the fortune instead. And our government said, you're right, you're right. We're capitalist all the way. Go for it, big boy. And they did. And you saw the things they did. But anyway, we got the rocks.
Yeah,
Suffice
they
it
didn't
to
want
say,
to learn from the Eskimos.
who's this guy?
What's that kind of life?
This is why I showed the disclaimer, RJ.
Yeah, good idea.
Hey everybody, Gary Fong here, and I'm really excited to do this video because I'm going to prove to you something that I've been talking about in passing. And but it was quite a big thing for me to say, which was that the chakras are actually high conductivity points or low resistance points for the body, and I called them the USB ports for the body because that's where, if we're going to retune our nervous systems or reharmonize it away from what is called synthetic spin, the best way to do it is direct touch with the points where electrons can flow. So electricity is basically the study of the flow of electrons. And so what we want to do whenever we're talking about electricity and its kind of sideways parallel counterpart, magnetism, we want to follow the flow of electrons. And we want to see where they can go, because if we have electrons that are, maybe there's not enough of them in the case of like oxidative stress, then we can completely cure that by giving a rich source of electrons by earthing, grounding, standing on green grass. So things like that.
I'm going to go ahead and look at his channel, pick it up there.
Albert Einstein was famously quoted as saying,
I've been there. Yeah.
Look at this here and say, like, we're not giving medical advice either, nor are we looking for medical advice. We are Christians who think that there's been a lot of lies out there, and we are trying to get to the truth. And our health is very important to us, since all Christians believe they are the temple of the Most High Holy Spirit. Albert Einstein said vibration something.
The future of medicine will be the medicine of frequencies. And I thought that was really brilliant because it sure isn't.
Yeah, he's actually parodying probably something that Tesla might have spoke about, but I can't believe it was Einstein's.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's obviously something that Einstein heard Tesla say, if there was a Tesla, because he was all about the 3, the 6, and the 9 and getting the frequencies all settled. So he would have had to have heard about him. Yeah, it's like looking in a mirror.
The medicine of chemistry, because in chemistry, I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I majored in physics at UCLA, fascinated with electricity and magnetism, but then I studied radiation and nuclear medicine at UCLA Medical School, which made me think about...
I was going to study all that stuff, but do you know how much that would have cost me to study all that stuff?
You realize you didn't have the budget or the time?
Yeah, the time, the budget at all. And then again, he did it, and he was in Canada, and I was still in the United States, but that out of state, double the tuition. It was just impossible, but he did it.
More of a medical kind of, let's see what I can do with electricity and medicine. I later transferred to UC Santa Barbara, and I was one of the only 13 students in the country to graduate with a degree in pharmacology.
Pharmacology.
And that led me to bioelectricity. I'm extremely hypersensitive, so it's called EHS.
Yeah, about half of the people that are watching this just go, I'm probably hypersensitive to electromagnetic. We probably all are. We've been flooded with it.
And this is due to my body having a high amount of a molecule called porphyrin.
Oh.
Porphyrin is a molecule that's used in oxygen transport into the mitochondria for energy use. It's used in sugar production, glucose metabolism, and myoglobin utilization, as well as blood iron, oxygenating blood through heme. Porphyrin is the kind of the translucent microscope molecule that is between the iron and the heme to create hemoglobin. And when you've got problems with your porphyrin, which happens in radiation, then you've got a problem making blood oxygen. And this actually happens because porphyrin is what I'll call a translucent molecule. When it's hit by radiation, it continues to glow, and that's why porphyrins are actually used as a radioactive tracer in radiation medicine. Okay, so I'm living in Kelowna, British Columbia, and all of a sudden they declare it Canada's first 5G smart city, and they put up 5G towers everywhere. It really hit me hard. I desperately needed relief. And those of you who have or have not seen my origin story, it's somewhere here on YouTube. Just look for my Shungite origin story. But I was so desperate, needing relief, that I stuck my head in a microwave, an unplugged microwave, obviously thinking that the microwave insulates radiation from going out. Wouldn't it insulate radiation going in? So I thought, my God, this is doing it.
He thought, my God. RJ.
Yeah, I'm here.
There's got to be a group that knows the truth and presents it with the new ABCs, and that's anything but Christ. Now, we all famously, at least when I famously got hooked up with, like, I hate glyphosate, and I really actively hate glyphosate. Since 2012, it was when I found out that none of the scientists and engineers would eat genetically modified food. In their cafeteria, everything is organic and non-GMO. And there are a bunch of hippies that everybody just makes fun of because a lot of them were vegans and, oh, I don't want to eat that. That meat's not real. They need some people to stay alive to manage this when they've got their AI, whatever. I just picked up an echo. The magnetic, no, it went away. This microphone, I need a new one. I'm going to get a new one. So everybody, this is an interesting topic, Something's going on. Marcella probably has heard about this before. Black rocks or something that can't be electrically measured. We're going to get into it. RJ, you open a can of worms, man.
Well, yeah, I've seen some of his videos where he's showing what he's testing, allegedly, and I suppose he could be a hack, but it appeared, real enough in the setting that he was recording and doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up that channel again and go to his channel, and I kind of want him to get a look at this, RJ, with the his intro.
I combed through.
Yeah, if you want to stop and drop, because didn't he have an intro version on this or something where I thought when I first popped up, he had a.
Yeah, it did for me also, but for whatever reason.
Now it doesn't. That figures.
Well, yeah, it isn't doing it like it.
So it's
did.
not. It's not that one. It was just the short one. I think it maybe this one.
Hey everybody, Gary Fong here. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so I'm on Consensus, the chat GPT.
Oh yeah, this
the AI artificial intelligence tool that culminates the consensus of over 200 million academic research articles. These are all peer-reviewed medical publications, or physics, or archaeology, or whatever. It's all here. What I like about consensus is that you can ask it questions like a non-scientific person, and it will give you the consensus of what all the research has said, kind of like a Rotten Tomatoes for medical research. So one question I want to ask consensus, I already know the answer to it, but this one is really quite profound. Has shungite C60 fullerenes been shown to extend the lifespan of laboratory rats? It says, shungites C60 fullerenes have been studied for their potential to extend the lifespan of laboratory rats. Research findings indicate that oral administration of C60 fullerenes dissolved in olive oil significantly increased the lifespan of rats. A study concluded by Batty et al. In 2012, recent, found that repeated doses of C60 fullerenes almost doubled the lifespan of rats. The researchers attributed this to the effect of the attenuation of age-associated increases in oxidative stress. How cool is that? Another study in 2021, this is very recent, demonstrated that long-term treatment with C60 fullerenes extended the lifespan of both male and female mice compared to control groups treated with the placebo.
RJ, would you take it if it didn't work the same on male and female? What if it only worked on women? What if it only worked on men? Thank you, Lord, that we don't have to worry about that. I'm just dropping, because,
So this suggests that the lifespan extending effect was due to the protective properties of fullerenes against oxidative stress. So the conclusion is, research indicates that C60 fullerenes found in shungite have been shown to extend the lifespan of laboratory rats, primarily by reducing oxidative stress and improving overall health conditions. Now, I'm one to say that I started wearing shungite and drinking shungite treated water in 2020, basically to ameliorate the deleterious effects of the 5G radiation in Kelowna. And one thing that I found that was really quite remarkable is I go in for a physical every year, and my MD physician said, all your biomarkers on your lab panels are showing a decrease in age, like literally it's going backwards. And my biological age equivalent was going backwards, which is quite amazing. That's something that I didn't really think that would happen. Now, I'm 63 years old, and I have the vigor and the vitality of what I remember in my 20s and 30s. And people say, "Oh, you don't look at all your age." Well, that's true. If I look at pictures of me before I started taking shungite, actually looked kind of older, which is weird. But anyway, want to put that out there because this is not some woohoo kind of a thing. This is,
man, let's face it, he doesn't need a green screen. He's got the coolest office going. What are you thinking, RJ?
Well, I think he's a busy cat. He's involved in a number of different things. So if you can retain your youth, why not try and do that?
I believe that he's got some insights that, the other video that we're going to go back to with his.
And then again, everyone doesn't have the same, body chemistry, but I think you'll find a lot of the things between individuals are similar,
I want everybody to greet Big James. Breeden's in the house doing good, better than gold. Sergio's a little bit skeptical. All right. TC he's already pointing me towards the Lukovsky multi-wave oscillator. Do we got even the magnetic pulse machine coming yet? Anybody use one of those Bob Beck blood purifiers? No. I know Royal Rife, and I've heard of a lot of stuff. We're going to get a lot of stuff here today. I've got it pulled up, and it's a real thing, Marcella. We didn't know about it. Now, the deal is, I'm a Ute medicine man, and I'm ordained in that. I got magnets, turquoise, copper, silver, gold, and my beads are tourmaline, which is supposed, I could make the same argument about negativity. I wear these and I haven't been, to keep my negativity down. We all have, a lot to learn. And that's the thing. We're learning it. And we don't have to be embarrassed. It's like, oh, well, you believe in quack science. Well,
as far as the seasonal stuff, walking barefoot through the park, whatever. I mean, you still might want to watch where you step, maybe. But,
and we know nobody that's lived the life of RJ or Sergio, Big James. None of these guys want to be labeled a tree hugger, But we kind of got to go that way, you guys. So man up, and you don't have to maybe hug that tree, but you could point at that tree with pride as a man. If you're Big James, you can. I mean, honestly, you can point at it and go like, "I appreciate this tree." Who's going to tell me I shouldn't? Nobody. You got a good argument. We should all appreciate the trees and all that stuff. I'm not gonna. Where is that? C60. I thought I looked it up. Well, that's another show killer. I've killed this show 3 times. Don't you worry, Marcella. I hope that's what she wanted to know is what is this Sugarite 60? I know we were looking at that. But
yeah,
that's one of the properties that it has in it, right? He'll explain.
Well, he had other videos where he's showing you the deeper in the mining, the more compressed the stuff is, but it's still equivalent, quality, but it has a few different characteristics as far, visual characteristics.
Oh, it's visual. If so, I'll give you a visual, Marcella. C60 is a soccer ball. It has 5-sided panels and 6-sided panels in a way that makes the C60 fullerenes in your body more active and want to get going, play soccer. They're ready to roll, man. That's not the whole answer.
Well, that kind of looked like them. What were them things the metal things that had the same characteristics that were found? Where was it in Rome? Them like
the fluorescents.
No, they were metal, but they had. That's what they looked like. Not like what you play, jacks, but they had the whatever 5-sided.
When you find something that is simply expressed anyway. So there's a lot to these. That's the C20, not the C60. That's not a soccer ball. Not a soccer ball. There's a soccer ball. You could just got to tuck those ends in. Fullerenes, allotrope of carbon with a closed mesh topology are formally denoted by their empirical formula Cn. Number of, okay, so C60, we got that. They haven't known about this at all for very long. But somehow, and when I see Buckminster Fuller associated with it, he's one of their guys. He sure is. The geodesic dome like that. He invented it. Sure you did. All right. So this is the end of his story about how you can reverse your aging. And people, I want you in 2 years from now, if somebody goes, you're a quack and believe in quack medicine, even if you're somebody, that is over 25 years old, like Marcella or Victoria, you could still say, well, how many push-ups can you do? And then, if they, well, it's not a push-up contest. You could say, well, it kind of is. It's not, physical, it's part of it.
This is literally a medical research articles, and I can go ahead and click on that article, and it'll show me the abstract and the takeaway and everything about it. And so it's like you can actually read the full review. Quite remarkable. So I just want to extend a sincere thanks to all of you who are watching this video. Please.
Well, I thought there was more, but it must be in that other video, RJ.
Yeah.
I actually feel relief when my head is inside the microwave. And this wasn't psychosomatic. This was true.
I wonder if he uses hair dye, because hair dye is not good. And that's something the Monsanto scientists would do. If I ever meet you, Gary Fong, I'm going to ask you, do you dye your hair? Because I used to dye my hair. I used to bleach it.
Really?
He is.
Yeah.
That the future of medical care strategies will shift toward bioelectricity.
I was like, I looked like Billy Idol.
And away from biochemistry, then it makes sense to use the areas of our bodies as the conduits, the areas that are specifically conductive to the movement of electrons and low in resistance as vectors. You want these treatable vibrational cures to get into the body unencumbered, and you can look this up. This
The
is
throat
if you do a
chakra
deep dive
that blew me
into
away.
something that I highly advocate, which is called grounding or earthing, where they found that people who just spent some time during the day barefoot.
Yeah, we heard about this 25 years ago, RJ, and we thought they were crazy hippies.
Yeah,
wow.
I recall
So it's
doing the grounding thing.
Yeah, I guess it's coming back around, and the rubber boots. I'm not saying everybody's got to,
he
go to
shoots
San
it
Francisco with flowers in their hair.
1962 when the sneaker, the rubber sole sneaker was.
I remember I was so happy. Mom, I want those Keds, those PF Flyers, because then I'll be able to run faster and jump higher. And she got me some. And man, first time I tried to jump over a log like that kid in the commercial, down goes Paco.
On grass lived tremendously better lives. And that was because of earthing and grounding. And so the physics of it is that our bodies above ground are extremely high in charge. We've got a lot of positive charge, and the earth is ground neutral. So what happens is when our bodies are extremely high in positive charge, this evokes a flood of what they call free radicals through oxidation. It's oxidative stress, and the body is positively charged. And if you look up any
oxidative stress, he keeps mentioning that along with the calcified pineal gland, people, is not your friend. You've got to do what you've got to start at least drinking some distilled water. That's the only thing that, in my non-medical opinion, has been like, wow, I've heard that since there's nothing there, the water drags the heavy minerals out of the body when you pee. So that's good.
Research on the PET scan. The PET scan actually looks for acidic areas that are positively charged. So this is something that's basic in radiation nuclear medicine. But what I found personally was that despite my diet, which was really, really, I don't like sweets, I was creeping into the very, very close to glucose sensitive, close to diabetes type 2. And therefore, when I started to research what is the cause of that occurring, it's got to be synthetic exposure, because there was you can look this up. There was trace evidence of diabetes before around 1962. And guess what happened?
What happened is, everybody take your guess right now. Give them a little spoiler alert hint, RJ. Something in 62.
You may want to kick your shoes off now.
1962. In 1962, they invented the rubber sole sneaker, which is what? Is it resistant.
I know I said the PF flyers or the KEDS flyer, but most people associate that with the Chuck Taylor Converse All-Star.
Or is it conductive? It's 100% resistant because they say you can walk through electrically charged water.
And again, he's not a medical doctor or scientist. Nobody is saying walk through electrically charged water. You're safe wearing Converse shoes. That's crazy. I'm going to skip a little bit, RJ. I want to get to this. Here we go.
The lady, if I touch here, do you see purple?
You hear that? That's talking about acupuncture, people. I'm going to prove that by backing it up. That's one of these other things that even the massive skeptic RJ is leaning. Finally, instead of always me, you're leaning towards some acupuncture.
They were all extremely uniform because it was communist, but what they were shut off from the world for generations. And in that time they were shut off, they had no exposure to our Western developments like X-rays, like anesthesia, like anything like that. And so he saw that surgeons were doing brain surgery in China without anesthesia, but simply by poking needles in different parts, sawing the skull off and asking the lady, if I touch here, do you see purple? So that was actually quite amazing to know that without the influence of synthetic material, and when I say about synthetic, I want to call that man-made. Okay, so let's just say that anything synthesized is man-made, and man-made is, guess what? Not natural, right? So that's like polyester, that's like aspartame, that's like glyphosate. All of those things are synthetic exposure, and those are the things that make you sick. I told my children, anything that is synthetic, anything that is man-made.
I'm just getting lost in listening to this guy again, RJ. You know what I mean? I mean, we're supposed to be commenting, because this is an educational video, but dude is breaking it down. Get out your little pointers. I love it when he points and shows that there's a throat chakra. Dang.
Resistance or conductivity. It means basically that electrons are going to flow from here to here, and we want to see if it flows.
Are they going to go from negative to positive?
Very freely. If you look at the meter right now, it says resistance goes from 1 full resistance to 0. 0 means that electrons are flowing freely between these two.
Oh yeah, that's big.
So we want to know is if we stick anything in the middle of it, will the electrons flow from one pole to the other? And let's try a gold watch. Okay, so this is whatever karat gold, but watch it go down to 0. Okay, so we know gold is a great conductor because gold is used.
Is that supposed to be a Rolex? Who else uses gold handles? I mean, Seiko you could buy, plated and stuff, but wow.
Used in circuit boards, right? And shungite, obviously, is a great conductor. Let me pull out my piece of shungite. You'll see right here when I touch it. Drops down to 0. And this is the case which I really love. This is my personal massive piece of shungite. It's a couple pounds, maybe or more. But when I touch the leads to the shungite, watch what happens. It'll go through the rock and return unimpeded, straight to 0. Okay. I'm going to show you the same thing that happens with this is a fake rock that I bought at a local crystal store here in Kelowna. This is why you'll see on my website at verifiedshungite.com that I do these resistance tests, because if I touch it here, it will not go to 0. It bounces around, but it will not go to 0. Same thing with organite. So organite has been touted as an anti-EMF thing, but on the basis of bioelectricity, organite is insulated. There may be, the lady who sold it to me said that there was shungite inside and copper chips and things like that. That may be true, but it's covered by resin, and resin, as you'll see, is a complete insulator. So this is just like tennis shoes on grass. no electrical transfer is happening in that situation. Now, let's talk about the human body. If I touch this to the back of my hand, watch what happens. Nothing happens. That means the electrons are not going through the body, which is true because the body is an insulator. It is not a conductor. You know, when lightning strikes, it goes to the recipient material that will take those electrons and send them down, it's a positive charge, send that down into the earth, the most attractive one, the one that has the most conductivity, right? And the least resistance. So there's miles and miles of stuff, but there's one little tiny lightning rod. It finds that rod and it sends it down so that it can neutralize that charge. It finds the most conductive thing. Now watch what happens when I touch my fingertip. See? Electrons are moving through. Watch what happens when I touch my palm. Electrons are really moving through. This is really interesting. This is the pointer finger that touches the screen of my touchpad. Look at how fast the electrons go through that. So, the reason that some of us who are electrohypersensitive have a numb fingertip is because your nerves are shot, baby, because there's been so much voltage going through it from your...
Now, I do think that we're getting a lot of good information, and he's going to show you, you know, the resistance changes on the chakras. And he's also going to, at the end, if I play it, try to sell you, you know, an item that you can put on your phone, or, you know, your children. Everybody should have one. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but this is not somebody selling the gospel, or, you know, but this is one of these things. He's exposing truth, but he's not leading to the way in the life.
Device. And if you're electrohypersensitive, you'll probably notice a numbing that goes all the way up this way. And those of you who are really electrohypersensitive, some of them who, they're kind of like me, are kind of like birds in a, what do they call it? A canary in a coal mine. We can tell like what's, you know, what's really bad. If you touch where the charging port is and the screen, you'll feel, holy moly, this is really, really screwing up plate. Should it be on the outside? Should it be in? Look at it move to come to testing the chakras, because this is the part that I just kind of like did today, and I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I got to show everybody. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to touch the back of my hand. You'll notice nothing happened, right? Touch here. Okay, we got palms, so we've covered fingertips. Now watch what happens when I touch my cheek. Nothing happens at the cheek, right? Now, I will try, this cord's a little tiny bit short. I'm going to put it on my throat chakra. Check this out. Look at it move. Down at 28. I'm going to put it on my chin. Nothing here. I'm going to put it on my throat chakra.
Right. It took a little while to get,
now that's,
you know, to him doing it, but that is quite a, you know, it looks repeatable. I don't think he would go on there and risk his business. Do you, RJ? It was something that's a lie.
Well, he didn't, you know, say he was a non-profit thing either.
Right. But he could sell this because it works. And I asked the question, you know, we didn't have much time, and you were on the run, I was on the run. We are magnetic batteries, Tauruses in motion. Why don't we act like it? How could we act like it? What can we do? Let's hear a couple more minutes.
Well, yeah, anything that you can do that you can benefit from, yeah, why wouldn't you be involved in doing it? You know,
Yeah,
unless it's you don't have the budget, you know, maybe
right.
that would be a hindrance. But
It's the fear They don't want to be called a non-Trinitarian. They don't want to be called a hippie tree hugger. Those are two things that people hate. They don't want to be called Christian socialist, or they don't want to be a liberal Democrat. Nobody wants those hung around them. Nobody wants that. As somebody that believes that the second through fifth chapter of Acts proves they were kind of Christian socialists, I kind of lean that way in some circumstances, but I don't want to get killed for it. So let's finish this guy and then get more of your opinion here.
With the different chakras, and I have found, just like I thought, and I don't remember where I got the prompt that told me that the chakras are the low resistance points. And I have a lot of friends who are acupuncturists, and you'll probably have something to say about the meridians that go from these areas, the chakras that go around, that we can redirect with pins. That's basically what they're doing.
I have no idea.
If you've got a problem, and like you're going to have your skull cap cut off,
no way.
You don't want to feel that, but you want to be.
That's what he was talking about earlier in China.
What's that, RJ?
Well, he just covered, in China with no anesthetic. They cut the cap off the guy's melon, and they're poking around. You see purple. That's kind of what he's.
I just backed it up to make sure that they could hear that, because to me, that's absolutely like, no way. You should have seen the way my wife, she was like trying to pick a surgeon to do my
legitimate statements, assuming, he's not pulling a fast one, that everything he is revealing here is, truth.
My intuition is ringing.
It makes your eyebrows go up.
My vibration is going off like crazy, man. And like I kind of overspoke the man. I don't know what a meridian is. I've got to look into these type of things. But in the meantime, I'm saying it's just more proof that we're the temple of God, and some people get it and some people don't. I know I want to ask you some questions about free will, so stand by, RJ.
That go around that we can redirect with pins. That's basically what they're doing. If you've got a problem, and like you're going to have your skull cap cut off, and you don't want to feel that, but you want to be awake so you can tell the doctor that when you poke here, I see purple, then they will put little pins that will take the pain sensors and redirect it up into this little area where it cannot connect. It's kind of like a railroad where you're just kind of like moving it here to there. So they can connect things that are not connected.
It's just crazy. Go ahead, RJ. I mean, we're all speechless.
Well, I mean, I think in the past, few months, I've shared with you how I have felt, and that, and I, because of that, I have clicked on, I don't share just because I click on something, I don't send it, litter up your inbox with everything. But some of the stuff that I, have clicked on that got my attention. Otherwise, I wouldn't be clicking on it, other than kind of how I feel,
well,
with my nerve
things,
So that's kind of my motive, or my motivation is because of some things will get my attention where otherwise, it just, delete, or whatever.
The algorithm and everything else, the people mean it for bad. God lets it happen for good. We know that there's something to this. We just have to figure it out.
Yeah,
be smart about it.
An element of truth, here somewhere.
It just like the Royal Rife machines, but in our world, RJ, we do what we can. We do healthy living, knowing that the Bible teaches we've gotten our ass kicked it's going to keep getting kicked until we have to run away and they encompass us about, and then we're rescued by fire for the great white throne of judgment. It's like, there's a reason you're going to need to be healthy if you want to help anybody. Otherwise, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, sorry, grandma, you can't lean on my shoulder because I can't walk. We're going to die here together.
Yeah, we want to meet up at the main library when the books are open, for sure.
Why do you think they're doing the genetic modification if it isn't just to, kill the people, suffer the infrastructure, not to get it better, not to help us? The United States isn't going to elect Alex Jones to be the president.
They're doing it just for the money? Well,
they are into it. It's set up. This isn't going to be a restoration of the United States and a vindication of truth, justice, and the American way. We're getting our ass handed to us by Russia and China and a bunch of other people who have, their governments are run like mafias like ours. And they've had to kind of kowtow and wait. They've been waiting and planning this, and they're not going to pass it up. And this isn't a movie where all of a sudden somebody's going to show up and go, I've got the magic bullet. Here you go. That's how our movies go. This is real life. The Bible tells you what's coming. That's how come you have men dressing like women reading children's stories in your public libraries. That's not going away. You can claim we've had victory in abortion after 50 years. There's still abortion. We're not going to win this. We're going to be on a narrow road, and anybody that can't say I've been persecuted like they were back then for the name of Christ, or had to give up something that we thought was important, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, you'll be second class. If you're lucky, you'll be second class.
Oh, hallelujah. What is Sarah is talking about? See, she's new, and so she took some, defensive thing about the Trinity, as we all did when we first heard people question it. I would Sarah, you should hook up if Sergio, Better Than Gold, is still in there. You might want to talk to that moderator. Why is he not a moderator anymore? Or what the heck is going on? Huh. Looks like only I have to go back because I've added a few moderators recently and now they're gone. One more time.
Pain sensors and redirect it up into this little area where it cannot connect. It's kind of like a railroad where you're just kind of like moving it here to there. They can connect things that are not connected, or they can disconnect things that they don't want connected, and that is all done through bioelectricity. So this is really fascinating to me. This to me basically opens up a discussion of, can we all agree that there might be something more to bioelectricity than the synthesis of man-made materials, which are only created to alleviate measurable symptoms so that you can feel better instantly. If you look in the medical literature on verifiedshungai.com.
So we got the shooting guy.
Melrez Little Ranch, his comments, he's familiar with it.
Who?
It looks like Melrez Little Ranch. He's like the third or fourth one at top of the, and then he has another comment further down.
Oh, okay.
So
looks like a big yellow spot around his neck. That's interesting. That is interesting.
assuming.
So they might have seen something about it. Okay, so that's what we're going to
But
be looking
but
into.
normally, at a airport, whatever jewelry you're wearing needs to come off and go through the X-ray machine.
I don't know if what Sarah if she's agreeing with me or not. She probably is, and I'm just being dumb about it. But the Trinity of Paco, yeah, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
good one. Okay, that's an instant no. All right, I've got to go over these Bible verses because that came up here. Oh, okay. Well, welcome
Yeah.
back, Sarah. We've got so much going on here. I'm in the university now and I'm getting straight A's. I want to talk about the eyelids and the heaven. And then there's this other verse that was just driving me crazy. Chapter 11, Psalm 11, verse 4. His throne in heaven of Yahweh, his holy, the temple. Okay, this is Bene Adam. So it's just the sons of men. His eyelid test and behold them. You can probably imagine when, I, like you, RJ, I've read this many times. We'll look at, you want to, if you don't mind, we'll go back to verse 4. You want to knock this out for us, big brother?
Yeah, I have a couple minutes here.
Okay. Yeah, we'll
Beginning
wrap
with
this
verse
up.
4.
Yeah.
The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes see, his eyelids test the children of man. The Lord tests the righteous.
Where are
But
you at?
well, you
Where are
said
you
begin with 4. You said
at?
begin with
No,
verse.
Psalm 11.
Well, what's on the screen? You said begin with
Oh,
verse 4, didn't you?
oh, my bad. I was starting at verse 1. Yeah,
Well, I
but
can go to
yeah,
1.
let's do the whole thing because it'll only take a couple minutes.
In the Lord I take refuge. How can you say to my soul, flee like a bird to your mountain? For behold, the wicked bend the bow. They have fitted their arrow to the string to shoot in the dark at the upright in heart. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes see, his eyelids test the children of man. The Lord tests the righteous, but his soul hates the wicked and the one who loves violence. Let him rain coals on the wicked. Fire and sulfur and a scorching wind shall be the portion of their cup. For the Lord is righteous. He loves righteous deeds. The upright shall behold his face.
All right. That pretty straightforward. The Lord is in his holy temple. Now, that has to be Yahweh because this is a prepared temple. Because what do we know about Elyon, the most high spirit God? No temple could ever contain him that could, you know, is imaginable or something is going on here. But it also, this verse is packed with his eyes see, his eyelids test. And I've gone over the eyelids before, the tarsals, and bear with me because this is only coming to me fresh now because I didn't really understand what we were going at here, but now I do. So let's do it. It has to be Yahweh or Jehovah. It has to be that God, physical, you know, physical in his temple because it's separated. And that's any men and women, and he tests them with his eyelids, okay? So his eyes and his eyelids, let's just get a quick look. It's a whole 10 times eyelid. The breaking of dawn, the darkness of my eyelids, and his eyes are like the eyelids of morning. His eyelids test, that's where we are. So you bring slumber to my eyelids. The gaze. I'm going to come right back to that now as I slowly reach over and grab my computer that I haven't needed yet. And I had Chakras in Christianity pulled up. We could look at that. No, we're going to go with.
Well, I'm going to need to cut out here.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for the invite. And yeah, we'll speak again soon.
All right. You sure you don't have just a couple more minutes about what's going on in the eye here? Because just a couple pictures. This will be a tease for everybody because here's your flat Earth.
Pretty close already.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, safe weekend to all, and yeah, stay safe.
Appreciate it, RJ. Love you like a rock, man. Now, in the eyelid, they have the greater and the lesser tarsal. So you already see, that here's the root, the foundation. The lens is the flat earth we live on. And these are first, second heaven, and third heaven is when the eyelid is opened. That's the ultimate. Everything is God. That is the technology. But when you get into the actual eyelid, you'll see the superior tarsus. And then when you see what's in the eyelid, the superior tarsus. So we'll have to remember that the superior tarsus muscle, because the tarsus has what is everything needed and where they get that tree for the Kabbalah. So they showed it in not the foot. Well, anyway, tonight I will be able to show you that because it is true. And when we get into it, it'll look like this. And so much is happening in the eyelids, ladies and gentlemen. It will only lead you to understanding that the sound and the vibration of the word, which is Jesus Christ, who is Messiah, Emmanuel, everlasting Father, and the government will be upon his shoulders. He spoke this into existence because a spirit willed it. Because an angel sinned in heaven. Epistle of 1 John chapter 3, verse 8. The reason that Christ came to earth was to deal with sin. And we know that Satan's representative or himself as a serpent showed up in Eden. And so sin was already happening, right? And we know that there's powers and principalities. It's a spirit world. And they hate your guts. They're going to win in their mind and take so many to hell with them. And if not for God adopting, changing hearts by adopting them, making them that were dead in their sins alive and forgiven. Now, 30, 60, 90, 100-fold fruit come from that wheat. So the 100-fold Christian's job is not to tell the 30-fold Christian, you got to try harder. They're already on the narrow road. Our job is to be found faithful at the end. And now that we know that the Bible was written to them then, it happened to them then, and now they've had that 1,000 years, Satan's loosed, and he's coming back. We had best act like we're going to be ready. And all those parables about the servants who were told, you're in charge, help the other servants do their job right. And they don't. They're busy gambling on their phone. I know all about that gambling on the phone stuff too. It's not only enough with the pornography. The gambling now got you 24/7. This is a flat earth nation. We're getting to the bottom of it because we're one called, two chosen, three faithful. We're never going to tell you anything else except the mud flood was Armageddon. It's a flat earth nation. The golden age is, well, there's a lot of stuff. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakame. It just means goodbye, and hopefully I'll see